Okay. Still, sorry. All right. All right. Okay. Well, all righty then. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world today. It's Tia Rogers, and we're starting for Wealth Talk. So we're going to just get through this because we got some things going on tonight. And I always encourage you to, come and hear an overview of the products and services as we are still talking about building sustainable families, right? So it is now 6:02, and I'm a little late, just 2 minutes late. So let's okay. All right. Sorry, Tabit, texting back and forth. Life goes on, business happens, right? So a lot that goes on behind the scenes when you are becoming a better person, building yourself, your life, mapping it out, and enjoying the journey as you are being while you're becoming, right? So tonight we're going to talk about when you first start out, it's work, right? It's work. So we look at the gestational stages for parents and phases. And when you first find out you're pregnant, you got from gestation to birth to prepare for this child if you have not prepared already. Then you have to raise that child from a newborn to 18 months, from 3 years to 10 years of age, 11 years of age to 18 years of age, 19 years of age to 26 years of age, 27 years of age to 37 years of age. And that's where they say they grow, right? That's where the growing pains really start. But it's a beautiful journey. Then you have 38 to 48 years, and 49 to 59 years, 60 to 70 years of age. And how do we prepare our children to do that, right? Because when they're growing and they're developing, after we have the children, they go through phases as well through their development skills in the 5 main areas of cognitive development, social and emotional development, speech and language development, fine motor skills, and gross motor skills. So they're learning all this early on within the first 2 years of their life, practically from birth, right? All of which are measured in milestones for the child to achieve by a certain age. Do you know what age they reach these motor skills? And it may vary from child to child. It may vary based off of several different factors: biological, medical, and I don't want to say disabilities, but yeah, their level of disability. Everyone is not everybody doesn't achieve their goals all at the same time. Remember that. Remember I said we're all unique. We all are born with our own unique gifts and talents, but we all have the capability to make our life a success if we are thinking that we are going to be a success. You have to put whatever you think is what you become. So please keep in mind that every child develops in their own time and milestone measurement. Milestone measurement is a gauge for parents, doctors, and educators to see where the child may fall in developmental areas. Now we have the baby, and where are you currently in the scheme of life? Single, married, divorced, college degree, high school diploma, no schooling or very little. What age are you, and are you prepared to raise a family? Ready or not, here life comes, right? I have life examples. I want you to think about life example A. It's a single parent high school education, and wishes to pursue a college education and or trade, lives at home with parents, no car, uses public transportation, and earns less than $20,000 annually. Wishes to be able to rent first apartment. That's scenario number one. Keep that in mind, guys, as we're going to be moving through this evening. Life example B. You have married parents. They've got an education. They're educated. They own their home, which is worth about maybe $90,000 to $100,000 mortgage annually, with an income of $120,000. However, the spouse was laid off from their job. They only have health coverage of one spouse with co-payments, 2 car notes, a mortgage, credit cards, and student loans, and another child on the way. Life happens on life term. They're life examples, right? Could happen to any of us at any given time. Example A is just starting out with very little. What would you suggest for A to reach their desired goal? And for B, what would you suggest for their current situation? Comment your answers in the comment box. That'd be nice, just to get a feel. What would you do? What would you do? Well, how would you advise them, to help them get through that life challenge? Because it's a challenge, whether you're starting out on your own, how much do you know? How much resources do you have? Are you prepared for the oopsies? Because they come. Where was I at? There are many lives on life's term situations in life, but how we handle them will make all the difference and will be as unique as each individual, as life can hold many rejections, and most times from those we least expect. But how do we deal with them and continue moving forward? What life on life terms have you dealt with as a parent? Did you find parenting difficult, easy, or the same during the situation and or circumstances? And how might you have handled it differently if given the opportunity? Do you have a desired goal, idea, vision, and or dream that you wish to achieve? What steps have you taken to start? How do you handle roadblocks, rejections, and the no's along the way? Do you avoid and or procrastinate doing the work required to achieve your goal? If so, why? Do your children have some of the same traits you have in meeting their achievements? Yes or no? Feel free to explain your answers in the comment box. I'll be looking for them. Makes a great dialogue. Great parenting tips, and we learn things from each other. Being a parent of 2 myself, I know the meaning of work and work some more. So doing what I do is just as challenging as when I was rearing my children. As children don't always do what we tell them or expect them to do at times throughout their life. Being a parent to me is just like being an entrepreneur, as someone has to create the path for the younger generation. And many times during the parenting process, you as a parent are responsible for the safety, caring, providing, educating, and showing the children how to first control themselves so they can then deal with others. But the grace of God and a support system like family and close friends can add as well. Yet sometimes life isn't always that easy. It has disrespect, dishonesty, times of no loyalty, no morals, values, traumatic moments, confusion, jealousy, anger, denial, loss of self, family, and friends, as sometimes you might outgrow people, places, and things. Doesn't mean you don't love or care for them. It just means that your quality of life benefit more from the distance, which allows everyone to grow in their own way. There is no cookie cutter way to get through this thing called life, especially as a parent. With all that is going on in the world, but you have something that nobody else has in this world, and only you can bring it out. So never ever be ashamed or embarrassed about anything that life has thrown at you as you're still standing and able. When you're blessed with each day to be better than you were the day before, okay, we get it. Everybody can benefit from some improvements here and there. And as long as you put forth effort to ensure those improvements happen over time, it doesn't matter how you start out, as long as you start somewhere. Here is a sample outline plan. So first you have to figure out your income. Where is your income source coming from? Were you blessed enough to have a trust fund? Blessed enough to have employment? Maybe you're blessed to have a sponsor, or maybe you're blessed with public assistance. Do you have a checking savings account, investment account? Check the fees and service charges for these accounts, because if you overdraft, then that's another fee that you're going to incur, right? On top of the fact that you're already spending your money out. Say, and then if you're talking about living quarters, are you going to rent? Or are you going to rent to buy or own? Are you going to, are you going to live in subsidized or non-subsidized housing? Will your mortgage be a fixed rate or annual percentage rate? That makes a difference in your payments, and whether or not your payments remain the same or they be manageable for a couple of years, and then boom, they call that a balloon payment, where like it just, the interest rates just blow up and it increases your mortgage payment. So you want to look at that if you're thinking of becoming a homeowner. What type of rate are you getting for your mortgage? How many bedrooms and baths needed for the family? A yard and or porch? Is there an association fee and or application fee to apply? Is it in a good location, great community, or a non-gated community? Are schools in the area or close approximately, is it any public or school transportation provided and or nearby or within at least a 1 mile radius? Your month by month budget. That's something that we have to do, especially if you're planning on moving out, or if things should change, your month to month budget is going to change. Go back to the life examples, exhibits A and B. Said month, be realistic and specific, and adjust a few times in each month income and expenses. And your investments into yourself, i.e. school, trade, employment, and or business. How much time will it take to accomplish your desired goal? Will it take a year to 5 years? Or is it going to take 5 to 10 years or more? Remember to make a list of short and long-term goals. This makes it easier to break down and accomplish. You're going to prepare a plan to pay back what's owed if any debt has occurred and or been occurred. And if you haven't established any debt, or you don't have any thing that says that you're credible because you're just coming fresh out the box out of your mom and dad's house. How do you go about establishing yourself, your credit, and how do you make sure that you use it wisely so that as you move on long term, you'll remain in good standing. And then after you prepare your plan, I want you to write down your start date. So this morning we went over Finding Your Way Life Blueprint, right? And I said, congratulations. You're now living life on your own terms. And it's amazing. We're talking about becoming a better person, right? We went over that this morning. And how becoming a better person is going to require you to become one with yourself, one with nature, one with God, to look at your state of being, your state of health and wellness, and who you are now and who you are becoming. That's why we're mapping out our plan. And then we're looking at our present life. Where are we right now, right? We know who we want to be down the road, but who we are right now has to grow into that person that we're going to become down the road. And what does that process look like? What are the steps for you? Life challenges come, obstacles, and you want to outline a plan to overcome challenges and obstacles. That's the part where I say you want to make sure that you set yourself up for the oopsies, because they come. Life happens on life terms. Then we're going to look at this. We're going to explore the gems within you. And what resources do you have that are workable and are tangible for you right now to begin starting the path on where you want to become? How much time will you need to set your plan into action? So you want to set a time frame. Is it going to be 3 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years? That's why I was telling you like that when we talked about setting daily goals to meet your weekly goals so that you can meet your monthly goals and then meet your annual goals. We discussed that already. How committed are you to yourself? That's the real true answer. Because you can BS a lot of people. But if you BS yourself, I'm going to pray for you. Because I've been waiting for the knight in shining armor a long time. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you're waiting for the knight in armor, the princess in armor, or whatever it is you're waiting for. This is the month of February, right? The love month. No one's coming to rescue you, darling. You have to take control of your life and begin mapping out the plan as to how you are going to build a life that's sustainable, healthy, and vital for you. And no one can do that but you, because only you know what you want. And with this being Love Month, you want to make sure that you're 100% whole, know who you are, what it is that you like, dislike, and that you understand yourself so that you can have some compassion and understanding of others, because it's very vital, especially when you begin to link yourself with someone else. So now just imagine you're a hot mess and you link yourself with somebody else that's a hot mess. And I don't want to say the term hot mess, but oh well, I was a hot mess for a little bit. And so I'll say hot mess because I can own up to it. It's my shizzle. So you're not financially stable where you want to be. You have no plan. You're out here doing things that you're not ready for. When you make a decision to do adult things or grown consenting adult things that repercussions of consequences may come, how prepared are you for that? And I can honestly say, being a young mom at I think I was 19 when I had my first child. So no, I wasn't ready, y'all. No, I wasn't. I thought I was, but I wasn't. But anyway, this leads me right into this. Listen, when you're planning your life, right? Think about this. The government, the Congress, our assembly members, legislators, the presidents, and and all those that make up our government, our political realm, governors, mayors, all those components, right? And I hope I got them right. I was trying to go off of memory. I didn't want to read everything because I do read a lot. But if all of these people, right, that we elect to sit in these seats and to, oversee our United States of America, our countries, our states, and our cities, why are we not doing the same? Because they're sitting down and they're coming up with a plan. They have a budget, and they even have a forecast for compensations that could come later on down the line, right? And a lot of Americans, about 25%, consider earning $28,000 a year salary as a good salary. And I'm sure it really is a good salary, especially if you don't have any debt, right? Because now you're really meticulously looking at everything that you got going on, and you're not spending your money frivolously, and you are investing your money in a place where it can grow. I suppose if you do it right, you can say that's a good salary. Then there's 75% that consider making earnings $46,000 a year salary as a comfortable salary. So this is the percentiles of what we consider, or a range of salary incomes. And I took some time to kind of look some things up, and the range for good salaries, at least in the area where I'm from, is between 39K to 131K. So if you fall anywhere within that range, you're in a pretty good percentile of, being self-sufficient. And if you're below that, then how can we help you to best utilize your funds so that you can too provide yourself a cushion should something come up? So now it says Americans hold about 92,700 and some in debt. Okay, so that means there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people with the scoring that we had this morning, right? Between 300 to 850. Sounds like more, or they're either in the negative, positive. So what's the percentile of where you fall? Good, what is it? There's poor, fair, good, and excellent. Where do you fall? Because Americans are holding 92,700 and some in debt. And I believe I did share today in a post, which I'm so proud of myself. You got to celebrate, guys. You got to celebrate the wins along the way. Sometimes depending upon what is on whatever debt you owe, you have to figure out how you're going to get it all together and map it out. And I was able to take $70,000 in debt, because that's where I started out at in all of this, and bring it down to like 27,000, somewhere around there, 26, 27,000, somewhere around there. So kudos to financial literacy education, learning how to best utilize your credit, paying your bills on time, and being able to work out some things so that I can begin paying debt back. And that's a beautiful thing, because that's a big drop from 70,000 to 27,000. So I'm gonna pat myself on the back, and I'm sure if it was you, you would do the same too. So financial literacy really does work. But you gotta do it. You gotta show up and you gotta do it. You gotta do the work. And they say that we got the average hourly wages are anywhere between $22 an hour to $28 an hour. And then there are some lower paying jobs underneath that. These are just the average stats for good and comfortable living of what some Americans were. Some data came back from the bureaus on this topic, right? Because I was looking at it. And did you know that Congress has acted 78 times to permanently raise, temporarily extend, or reduce the definition of the debt limit since 1960? Right? So that's a long time. 1960, oh yeah, that's a long time. That's almost 60 years, right? Just about, if not more. So I say all that to say what? Yes, so to say that, to depending upon where you fall, where do you fall at? Now we just looked at the overall general thing. We're mapping out our blueprint, right? You're mapping out your blueprint. You're becoming a better person. You're going to get these finances in order, and to where we can begin to generate generational wealth. But first, you want to create some wealth so that you can live comfortable first. You got to take care of you first, and then set yourself up so that the generations that come behind you will not suffer the things that you suffer, or at least do your best to do it. This morning, I shared with you a few tips from the Black American Money 2 book by Dr. Boyce Watkins. So I'm just going to read a little bit of the tips that he gave us, because one of them was number 1, right? It depends whether you're in the debt category, are you in a good, comfortable, or are you below that range? Here's some helpful tips. Number 1, use auto deduction when it comes to saving money. You want to auto deduct, have your money automatically taken out of your personal checking account so that you don't see the money before it goes into your savings. What happens is that some of us have formed the bad habit of being spendaholics. I'm a recovering spendaholic, me too. I have no problem admitting that. If you are not intentional or not careful, then you can get in the habit of feeling that whenever money is in your pocket, can burn a hole in your pocket. You ever heard anybody say that? Well, maybe it's okay to let the money burn a hole in your pocket. To prevent that from happening, you just need to keep your pockets light. In other words, if it is not available to you immediately, then it is more difficult for you to spend. If you have some money taken out in advance and put into a special account, then you will have a hard time getting access to it. You might even forget about it. That's a great way to save money. Also, having a little jar in your house where you throw your spare change in when you come through the door is another good way to save a little bit of money. It's not going to be enough to buy you a house, but it might be enough to pay for some groceries in case you need some extra spending money. Number 2, he advises us to pay yourself first. When it comes to saving money, you want to pay yourself first. Don't get in the habit of saving whatever is left over, because what happens is that if you are if you're on a tight budget, you won't have enough left over. You should prioritize the things that matter to you, and there's nothing that should matter to you more than you. That means that you put the savings at the top of the budget, not at the bottom. Take that savings out first and then pay the bills with whatever is left. This will prevent overspending. Then he suggests that we stop giving away your money. The best way to keep your money is to not give it away. Don't give your money away to these companies that are getting you hooked on impulsive spending and trying to trick you into buying things that you know you don't need anyway. Stuff that's severely overpriced. They pay $12 to make some headphones over in Malaysia and then sell them to you for $250. Think about that stuff. Dr. Tommy Whitler, an expert marketing professor at DePaul University, constantly reminds us that impulsive spending prevents us from saving and acquiring wealth. He basically says that companies spend marketing money for the explicit purpose of playing with your mind. It is the best effective way to get you to let go of your money, even when you don't even know what happened or why. In other words, someone has studied our spending habits and they've got you figured out before you even walk through the door. So you want to make sure that you're smarter than the systems that are designed to manipulate you, oppress you, and ultimately leave you broke. Number 4, you want to avoid high interest credit cards. Credit cards are a huge savings killer. Believe it or not, many credit card companies charge you just insane amounts of interest. Start eliminating your high interest credit cards. If you have 3 types of debt, one is lower interest, one is medium, and one is high. Try to get everything into the low interest category. That means maybe borrowing from the low interest group to pay off the high interest group. There is nothing wrong with that, or you can use a little bit of your savings to get rid of that credit card debt. Credit card debt usually isn't good for you because a lot of credit card debt is because we spend on things that we don't even really need. Credit card companies, remember, are not in business to help you out. They're in business to make money off of you. 5, you want to identify sources of extra income. At one point in my life, I realized that I needed extra income. I found it was easier to save money when I made more money. See, if you make more money, then you don't have to necessarily save as much because you have more disposable income. You could just use the extra money as your savings, especially if find and secure additional streams of revenue. There's nothing better in life than to have a side hustle. Let's say you make $3,000 a month and you get an opportunity to make an extra $500 a month. That $500 a month can make a big difference and can lead to greater financial comfort and security. I mean, if you have saved $500 a month, that's a $6,000 a year. That's going to add up over time. One of the things I did in order to save more money was I actually said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to find a way to make more money on the side. I figured it out. I had a side hustle. The side hustle was paying for all the extra stuff, and it was also going into my savings. I didn't even have to really touch my original budget. That's the secret that you don't hear from a lot of those financial experts, because they always assure that saving money means you have to chop down your expenses. Well, yes, that's one way to save money. But another way to save money is just make more money, and then just make sure that extra money goes into your savings. Once you begin to implement these practices, you will begin to see your finances improve. It is not as difficult as some may make it appear, and the reality is that it is critical to our success and survival as a people. This reminds me of an article in Mother Jones that pretty much explained that the 100 richest white people in the world, or in America, have more wealth than the entire African American community. But together, that's altruistic. I messed that word up, sorry. Altruist, that's a legacy of slavery, legacy of Jim Crow, legacy of oppression, and a legacy of rampant discrimination, criminalization, and terrorism. No question about it. White people, if you're reading, you need to understand that this is why Black folks have a hard time getting down with you. You won't acknowledge or concede what your ancestors did and how you benefit from it. I'm not going to forgive or forget until my ancestors are vindicated in terms of having the wealth returned that belongs to us. Now, with that being said, I saw an article by Antonio Moore. He and others have claimed that Black wealth just doesn't exist. Some people assert that even if you throw in celebrities, athletes, and everybody else, Black people just have nothing. We're just done. We're dead broke. I will talk about this in greater detail in a later chapter. And we don't have nothing. I'm a little bit concerned about the assessment for a couple of reasons. Number one, I hate the idea, I hate us falling for this notion that the only way we as Black people can ever have anything, ever get ahead, ever accumulate any resources in this world is if white people decide to come together and hook us up, right? I just can't buy into the false narrative. That's a significant problem in my mind, because I don't think they're ever going to save us. The cavalry is not coming. You're going to have to build for yourself. Second of all, I think we have to be very cautious about taking a snapshot and thinking that everything is in the snapshot. You can't judge for the next 300 years based on what you see right now. I will tell you this: if every Black parent, for example, made sure that their child learned entrepreneurship, and if every Black parent made sure that their child learned technology, and if every Black parent made sure that their child got a superior education, which is usually going to come from home, it's not going to come from a school system, then Black wealth would literally flip everything on its head within a generation or two, because people that tend to have the most education and the most information also tend to have the most resources. Let me place this into its proper context. Even though Black people generationally don't have as much as white people, we still have something to work with. Part of the reason that we think we don't have anything is because white people have so much. White Americans have more wealth than almost anybody on earth. Why is that relevant? Just recently, China and Europe Union passed the United States in terms of a total gross domestic product, which is the productivity of all the goods and services that a country produces. In other words, we are third on the list, now behind China and the European Union, which really isn't one country, because it's a group of countries that come together to form a union. So here's the problem. When we compare ourselves to white people, we have to think more globally. For example, when you say something like Black America wealth does not exist, or there is no Black wealth in America, you have to think in terms of why that assessment is being made. That's like saying Jamaica doesn't exist, which is illogical. In fact, we have more wealth in the Black community than the GDP of Jamaica. It might be helpful if I share countries whose GDP are less than that of Black America. We could literally buy the gross domestic product of all these countries. Let me go down the list, and as I do, it just might surprise you and make you rethink many of our widely held and often repeated beliefs about Black money. Iran, Australia, Thailand, Taiwan, Egypt, Nigeria, Poland, Pakistan, Argentina, the Philippines, the Netherlands, Malaysia, South Africa, Colombia, United Arab Emirates, Algeria. She's a lot. Bangladesh, Vietnam, Iraq, Venezuela, Belgium, Switzerland, Sweden, Singapore, Kazakhstan, sorry I messed that up, Kazakhstan, Chile, Hong Kong, Romania, Australia, Peru, Norway, Ukraine, Czech Republic, Qatar, Portugal, Kuwait, Greece, Myanmar, Morocco, Israel, Denmark, Ireland, Finland, Sri Lanka, and I could keep going. I could literally keep adding countries to help illustrate this fact. Yet, don't get me wrong, this is not to say that we should pretend like everything is all wonderful and ideal in the Black community. That isn't what I'm trying to say. And I'm also not saying that my esteemed friends are crazy or wrong. There's a lot to be mad about if you're Black, and it is unwise to suggest that government involvement should not and can't be part of the solution. From my vantage point, I don't see the government being part of the solution, at least not right now. Maybe in 50 years or maybe in 30 years, white people will wake up and say, we do owe these people reparations because what we did to them was some pretty horrible stuff. But we can't sit here and pretend like we don't have anything to work for. As I always tell people in the Black Wealth Boot Camp, no white man has ever told you that you can't pick up your cell phone and do some research and learn things on your cell phone. No white man has ever told you that you can't learn how to start a small business. Just because he won't give you a loan doesn't mean that you can't start a business. That's what they call bootstrapping your business. There is no law, written or unwritten, stating that you can't buy stocks on the same stock market that others buy stocks on. I can show you mathematically how to do so. I have been a finance professor for 23 years. I taught my first finance class when I was 22. So I know money pretty well, and I leverage the knowledge to position our people to be successful. For example, let's say I started investing at the young age of 22, which I did not do. And I bought $100 worth of stock every month in the stock market. Any stocks that I picked, no matter what I picked, would generate over 100,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 in wealth from just from $100 a month. And if you do that over the course of, let's say, 30 years or over the course of your lifetime, that your child won't have to start off at the beginning at ground zero. Your child can start off with a capital base, and if they now have to intelligently apply that capital, then they can build the wealth they need to thrive. So my point here again, I'm not trying to be disparaging, because Antonios is my friend and Yvette Carnell is my friend. He is a brilliant lawyer and Yvette is a social commentator, a brilliant commentator, is that we must empower ourselves. I'm a finance professor. I know how money works. I know where money comes from. I know how all of that happens. And I can tell you that we are dipping into a doom and gloom mindset when we believe that the only way we can ever get caught up on any level is waiting for white folks. I ain't waiting for white folks. I just ain't. And you know what? I tell you what, I see a whole lot of people I know who embarrass, I see a lot of people I know who embrace entrepreneurship in their families. They made something out of nothing. They might not have as much money as wealthy white people, but they got more money than most white. They got more money than most white people. Most white people look at their business and say, wow, I wish I had what you had. I know how much most white people make. Let's say the average white person makes 50,000 to 60,000 a year. I know a whole lot of Black folks who started off with nothing, but who found a way to make several $100,000 a year. Now, that is not the same as the masses, though. What we need to do as a community is start teaching our children that getting yourself successfully economically is not enough. You flip it back, you get together with other people, you form a small capital base, and you structure a business so you can begin to hire other people, because wealth means nothing if you're not creating wealth for other people around you and the people who are in your community. So just keep that in mind. Let's not get caught up in the gloom and doom of it all. Let's look at the facts, look at the truth. Let's be honest with ourselves. And at the same time, never think that 2017 is the same as 2117 or 2217 or 2317. In fact, a lot of Black wealth issue or the Black wealth challenge could be resolved if everyone just made sure that they didn't die without life insurance, right? Again, you may not catch up with white folks. They got more money than almost anybody on earth. That's why it seems like you're broke. You're like the poorest kid in the richest neighborhood, but understand, compared to the global community, you're doing pretty well. At the very least, you can at least get away from destitution. There's no law saying you must be stuck in poverty. Nothing I don't care what anybody says. There's nothing saying you have to be in poverty. Nothing. I seriously believe that if you study what is in this book and put it into practice, then you will have the foundation of receiving the core information that you would receive at a finance program at any major university, including Harvard or Yale. All right. So that was the little bit of the first chapter there. And he raised some very good points, right? Because look, we got a plan, we have to budget, we have to forecast for compensation. We have to take our good salary and our comfortable salary. If you're in those ranges, and like I said, if you're below, he gave you some tips. If you want to pick up the book, please go to drboycewatkins.com and all his information is there. You can join his programs. Very enlightening. Like I said, I'm having fun playing around with the stock market, and I learned to do it when the stock market's closed. I don't have as much anxiety, but as we are talking about building sustainable families and putting ourselves in a better situation, why aren't we doing it for ourselves? And Dr. Boyce Watkins just shared in the book that it's global. It's so bigger than just you, where you are right now. So with that being said, I want to thank you for your time this evening. And again, winning life, winning business, and love what you do is coming. So just stay focused. But we have one more night to go for this wealth talk, and that will be tomorrow night. And we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to disappear on you guys. I got to fall back and get busy. Like I said, there's things that's done behind the scenes that you don't really necessarily know unless you get in deep and get into it. Building yourself, becoming a better person requires whatever it takes to do whatever it is that you need for your life to make your life better. And once you would take the step up and take the courage and start with yourself, you can then take what you learned and teach it to others. We're charged with the responsibility of each one, teach one, learning ourselves, teaching our youngins, and preparing them for a better future. So I want to thank you for your time this evening. Thank you for allowing me to come and disrupt you all. I'm just chattering, but I'm done for the night, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye, Facebook. Say goodbye to them. All right, YouTube, thank you for joining. Don't forget to leave some comments, like, share, and subscribe.